One of the things that I didn't know in my 20s, and I'm curious, you did because you started a company very young. Sam Altman from Y Combinator often said that one of the ways to become successful is you need to own something. You don't become successful by renting your time. You become successful by owning, and it could be owning an equity in a business, and it could be in infrastructure, natural resources, it could be anything, right? But equity is the one that really scales. Do you agree with that? And does that, if you agree with that, how do you tell all the young generation of Indians to think about that? Should they all go start startups, or what's your advice for the best way for them to think about ownership and equity?
I think we are this is really fast forward to think about equity. In India, 99% of people don't understand what is inflation.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't understand inflation, they have no understanding of what compound interest is. And they don't know if they keep money in their account earning 3% when the country's inflation is at 6%, their wealth has actually deteriorated. They don't understand, because all of us grew with this mindset that parents told us save money. So everybody saved money instead of investing, right? So everybody has saving account, and India has tons of money lying around in saving account earning 2% interest, right? Whereas even if you put money in a liquid mutual fund or whatever, you'll earn actually a lot more than that. But the idea of being safe and save money keeps us in that particular manner, right? So my view is that the total number of hours anybody in India has got any financial literacy training is probably 1 or 2 for their entire life, right? Their parents did not create wealth. And there is a lot of shame to discuss with friends about wealth, because it's almost like, according to me, financial literacy is very similar to sexual literacy, right? People do not find comfort in talking about it. And in a patriarchal society where you need a lot of status to appear to be all cool and smart, asking about dumb questions is not appreciated. This is a country where asking dumb questions naturally makes people feel that you are dumb, but the only way you become smart is by asking dumb questions, right?
Yeah.
Because that's when somebody will teach you, right? Then you will find out what are the different ways to fight inflation, right? And what are the different ways to make the compound interest work in your favor versus work against you, right? For example, if credit cards are charging you 50% interest rate in India, that's compound interest working against you, right? But let's say some equity fund is giving you, let's say 10% return, that's in compound interest working in your favor, right? And I think understanding at financial literacy level is so poor and so basic. At CRED, we have so many members who are above 750 with multiple credit cards. We did a recent survey, and we discovered that most people, 70-80% of them, think that their credit card interest is only 10% or 15%, which is not true. It is 50%. Yeah. So the thing is that, and there is no correlation to academics, no correlation to IQ, no correlation to that. This topic is never discussed. It's almost shameful to talk about money in India, right? Because it demonstrates weakness in some ways. So we are a society that is all pretending to be all cool, but we do not understand the concept of wealth, unlike some business communities, right? So what I've seen is that, let's say, a lot of Gujarati families or Marwadi families or any other business families, one interesting pattern I have seen is that when you were a kid, did the parents teach you to think in percentages? I've seen that to be the strongest correlation of people who understand things. A lot of other places, everything is spoken in absolute amounts, right? But if you grow up in a Gujarati or a Marwadi family, you always spoken in taka. Like taka is the thing that you have to learn. And an interesting thing I've observed is that in a typical Gujarati family, right, you could be academically smart, but if you do not understand money, you are called doba, which is a nasty word to tell a kid that you are basically a dumb beep kind of a thing, right? So the thing is, shaming the right understanding of money, right? And we only say, oh, academics, oh, you got into engineering and IIT. What if you don't understand money? What if you don't understand how taka works? And we are extraordinary at algebra, terrible at money.
Correct. It's true. That is true. In fact, I feel like we spend so much time studying differential calculus and integral calculus, and we don't use any of it. And Honestly, like it would have been better if we were taught how to manage money from when we were young. Although, what do you think? Is it changing? What do you think needs to change? How do we make sure there is a change? Like India has, less than 2% retail investors. And do you think it's barriers to act? I mean, is it more like they didn't have access to financial markets? Well, some of it is that, but I do agree with you. Like we all grew up saying, you have to save 50% in savings, you invest the rest in gold. But how do we change this? Because clearly there is a pattern where this works, right? We see the developed markets, it works.
I think first is introducing capitalism in our education system. We have no clue what capitalism is, right? We all of in India have MRP in the products, and we think it's a great idea. We don't understand it's actually bad for the country because you are standardizing one price. Like, and I think my biggest problem is to understand that can we create a culture where capitalism is taught, financial literacy is taught from school days, because we cannot really expect parents to teach when they don't know this themselves, right? If you've sent kids to learn English when parents do not know English, why are we not teaching financial literacy? Because parents have not been taught these things, right? And just because they own a house doesn't mean they understand what equity means, right? And if you look at the data, the number of people who are investing in equity is so small. And in fact, it's so concentrated in business communities. Again, if you look at Gujarat and like 2-3 other states where business communities exist, almost everybody's participating over there. And in some states, it just doesn't exist. So I think we are stuck on our relationship with money is not a pleasant one. It is a one which is confused. It is one where we are really not sure if we should be having a relationship with money or not. And unless we break that, we are not going to become. So one of the things that most people don't understand about India is that we talk about our per capita income is $2,000, right? What most people don't talk about, probably our median is probably 600 or 700, right? Therefore, averages are fooling most people, including founders and investors, because only the top percent is compounding.
Yeah.
Investment in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing. Please read the risk disclosure documents carefully before investing in equity shares, derivatives, mutual fund, and or other instruments traded on the stock exchanges.